The king has returned. It's Dave back on the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Greg, and I'm excited to have my co-host back this week. You had a good vacation, it sounds like, sir?
I did. Just back from sunny San Diego, pretty much since our last show. Pretty much hopped right on a plane and went out there. I'm just realizing now I definitely got a little sunburn. No surprise. I've been cooped up indoors in the winter all for the past 3 months, basically. But it was a good time. Got to see some old friends. Eat some authentic San Diegan tacos, and did not get to bet though. And I had to, as we'll discuss, watch our guy Shane Lowry choke it away from a state where I could not hedge. But alas, he still got some good stuff, and it was a fun weekend all around either way.
Well, it looks like tan from here, and you're not the only one who, I guess, I don't know, has some new developments here with your return. I have a new banner behind me. My favorite team won the Big Ten championship outright. I also have a celebratory strobe light. So now
Absolutely.
Anytime anything cool happens on the show, we'll just bring out the celebratory strobe light.
That is good. Yeah, this is not an overlaid effect, folks. This is authentic strobes from Greg's dungeon.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It's all control of a button. You got to love it. With that news, Dave, let's get into some wins from the weekend.
Let's do it. So as mentioned, Shane Lowry did, cash a few things for us. He finished T2 at the, the Cognizant Classic. I was going to say the Genesis because I've been off for a weekend and it escaped me for a second. But he did cash top 5. Top 10 at plus 186, top 5 here at plus 365. This is with ties as well. That's how I like to play this market to avoid any dead heat. So if you played them outright, you would have gotten even better odds on both of those. Top 10 ties was completely unnecessary anyway, since he ended up finishing T2. Unfortunately, he was tied for the lead heading into the 4th round, could not close it out. And as I was just telling you before the show, I didn't even realize how bad it was because I was kind of off the grid for sports betting, but he had a 3-shot lead with 3 holes to go. Went double bogey par to lose it. Undeniable value from the model. Still got a couple wins. Also an unfortunately bad beat. But that wasn't the only golf stuff we had going on. Cover a couple things in our course recap, but we also cashed part of anyway our head-to-head parlay that had the odds chopped a little bit from plus 520 to 220 with Will Zalatoris withdrawing before the tournament. But it is a lot better to withdraw before the tournament starts than it would be after, because then it would be a loss. His opponent finished T40, so probably had a good chance to cash this whole thing unless he had a really bad weekend. But a win is a win. The model was dialed in for the Cognizant Classic. Looking forward to getting back into it this weekend and all week with what else we got across all sports. Going to be a good week coming up.
I have my own personal heartbreak Shane Lowry story. I had him outright, and I was telling you before we clicked record, he had a 3-stroke lead with 3 holes to play. I'm feeling amazing. I thought it was a great time to do a nice husband duty. My wife was making some baked pasta, and we needed cheese. So I hit the grocery store thinking, I'm great. I've got a winner in my pocket. Little do I know, I came home. He was on 18, down 2 strokes. I just couldn't even believe it. And then I go back and watch the clips, back-to-back water balls. It was brutal. I guess the lesson is when you might need to hedge a bet, never go buy your wife cheese. That's what I learned this weekend.
Yeah, you got to delay dinner by at least a half hour or however long it takes someone like Shane Lowry to get through 3 holes.
Yeah, exactly. So
how was the dinner, though? Good?
It was great. It was not as good as it would have been had I Shane Lowry. All right, make sure you get Dimers Pro, 50% off. Dimers Pro, your first purchase with promo code podcast. Take advantage of all the great tools at your disposal to help you win some bets. Let's turn next to King of the Court, all the way up to a $3 million prize pool tonight, which is amazing. This is one of our favorite promotions in all of sports betting. Of course, it is with DraftKings. If you bet $5 on any player prop market, points, threes, assists, rebounds, whatever you want, use your King of the Court token on the bet, and that player ends up leading all players that night in points plus rebounds, assists. You will split the prize pool with everybody else who bet that player. It's typically a $1 million bonus bet prize pool, all the way up to 3 times that tonight. and we're going to take you through all of our favorite targets on the board. Where do you want to start, Dave?
So we will start real quick with, I just want to make sure it's clear here that there are 3 $1 million jackpots. So it's which is better for all of us because we're not competing for the same one pool with just a bigger bonus bet. It's $3 million jackpots. So if you pick any of those top 3 and your guy is one of them, you'll split $1 million as an individual pool, which again is better for us because we're not all chopping from the same guy. However, it's going to dilute a little bit, the pool a bit. So anyway, we're going to dive into today's top 3 overall. And to kind of keep with the theme, I went with 3 long shot plays as well. Quick little recap of some recent weeks. We nailed Wemby a couple of weeks ago as a top 2 option. Last week's winner, Paolo Banchero, was ranked 7th overall. And I was looking back through the results. Only 2 nights this season, with the exception of the Christmas Day 3 Kings promo, was there a player who won the promo outside of Dimer's top 10 projections. So It's been top heavy, but also our model has correctly predicted the guys who are competing with this as a top 10 option every night. Both of those nights were split pots as well. So one of them was the guy 13th and guy who was 8th. The other were both outside the top 10. The model's been really accurate at least identifying the top contenders in this. And I guess it goes to show a little bit that when we do the long shots, identifying that kind of in between 3 and 10 spot is probably a pretty good place to look outside the top contenders. So, of course, Luka Doncic is our top projected guy tonight, 49.2 PRA. Once again, setting the bar for the whole slate. 50 PRA is the lowest winning total this season, with the exception of one night where it was 44. So he's projected at the floor you basically need to win this promo, which he has hit in 2 games since the All-Star break with 50 plus PRA. I don't know if I'd call this a concerning recent stretch, but he has gone under 30 points in 4 of his 6 games since returning. His only such slump, in quotes, I guess you would call it, all season, those 2 games where he cleared 50 PRA, he scored over 30. So not going to call it boom or bust, but with him projected at 32.5 points tonight, kind of feels like the key threshold to target with Luka is betting his points prop, 35 plus points. You'll probably get it at plus money with his line at 30, depending what his line is. Sorry, we have him at 32.5. That's not his line. But you can kind of get a sense of how he's hitting this or how he's winning the king of the court, how he's reaching 50 PRA, and it's off of high scoring nights, even though he has such good complementary stats. He is facing the Pelicans, who rank 19th versus opponent points, 29th versus rebounds, and 7th versus assists over their last 15 games. Those defensive numbers do improve versus guards specifically. New Orleans has the best 3-point defense versus that position. So a little interesting thing to note if you are going after Luka tonight. It may not be the most favorable matchup, and he's going to have to probably score 35 plus points to do so with how high we have some of these other guys projected. And at that, we will move to Cade Cunningham at 44.2 PRA as our second highest projection of the evening. He's the only guy among these top 3 who hasn't won King of the Court yet this season. That doesn't mean he hasn't turned in the performances. He just hasn't happened to win it all on Tuesday. But he ranks 12th in the league in scoring, 2nd in assists. He's an absolute offensive engine with a very high ceiling on any given night. He's recorded a double-double in every game since the All-Star break, one of those by way of rebounds, the others via assists, which he is projected with the highest total of any player tonight at 10.5, along with 27.5 projected points, which is a top 3 scoring projection as well. He's not a board crasher. His 10 rebound game last Friday was his first double-digit rebounding outing since December 20th. However, that game did come against Cleveland, who he'll face again tonight. They ranked 25th in scoring defense, 24th in both rebounds and assists against guards over their last 15 games. So a pretty favorable matchup across the board for Cade, who we have shouted out here a few times this season. Third is our most recent winner of King of the Court, Paolo Banchero at 40.9 PRA. Won the crown last week with an enormous $811 bonus payout. I would imagine that is not going to be what he returns tonight should he cash in. partially due to his high projection, the good matchup. It was against the Lakers last week, so he was less of a spotlight on him. And also just, an increased popularity with people, seeing him go off like that last week. And with the added 3 bonus bet pools, you're going to have some people who are probably more likely to take someone maybe they wouldn't normally. So if you're betting him, don't expect $800 is all I'm saying. It was also one of his best of the season, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists versus the Lakers. He just hasn't done quite those monster games all year long, but he certainly has the upside. 3 double-doubles since the break, projected at 25.7 points, 9.8 boards, 6.0 assists, all above his season averages, which I think is a little notable. Facing the Wizards, who are in full tank mode. You got guys getting ejected from games who aren't even active for that team right now. They're putting in they put in Angel Reese's younger brother for like 24 minutes to put up a line of like 2 and 4 the other night. It is an absolute masterclass in tanking that they are doing right now. We're ranked 29th in points, 30th in boards, 26th in assists allowed over their last 15. Specifically versus forwards, they rank 24th against, I believe, in all 3 categories. That almost feels wrong, but I put it in my notes here, so unless I wrote that incorrectly. But it's pretty much the same. They are very bad, not better than 24th in basically any category here. He's Banchero, he's not, how should I say this? He's a bit of a master of none, kind of. He has very good contributing numbers, but his highest league ranking in any of these stats is 19th as a rebounder. He's just more of an all-around contributor than a single category stat leader. I would say the biggest risk tonight is a blowout, which could cap his minutes, and maybe, we see somebody else kind of unexpected take over, but everything lines up for him to have a big night tonight. And Banchero, number 3, rounding out the top projections. Go to the long shots here. You got something, Greg?
I'll add just personal thoughts. I think with Paolo, anytime you can play Washington, like stars should star, and across the board, he can kind of get whatever he wants. The fear is definitely blowout, and I feel the Julian Reese point from you is a good one. Like, there are some guys you just can't believe are in the league right now for some of these teams. And that's going to leave good teams in weird spots when they play teams like this at this point in the season. So I'd be weary of Paolo. I like the Cade shout. Obviously, I'm, a Pistons fan. You've heard me talk about that on the show before, but I do wonder if we're seeing like a legitimate Luka level turn from him. This was his second All-Star appearance. It just kind of feels like he's settled into like the guy every single night. You think about the Cleveland matchup, that's a game Detroit cares about and gets up for right now. And I think Cade views everybody in the Cleveland backcourt, the new look Cleveland backcourt, as somebody he can, 1, get whatever he wants again, but 2, kind of wants to prove a point against. So he had a huge rebounding game, as you mentioned, last time he played Cleveland. I think it's a good matchup there. I kind of expect Cade to have a huge night. He'll be my play from the favorites.
I say, yep, if I'm picking one of these top 3 guys, it's Cade for me because, 1, he's due. He's the only one of the 3 who hasn't hit it, and he's had monster games this season. Plus, you're getting the 3 guys, so he doesn't have to be the number 1. He can get second. He can get third. He could tie with one of them. So you're opening the door a bit more, and everything's pretty much lined up for him. So I completely am aligned with you in that. Long shots.
Actually,
LeBron James.
I'm sorry to interrupt again.
No, go ahead.
The question is, I'm thinking through the strategy behind this, because this is totally different with $3 million jackpots than it's been when there's 1. Part of me is wondering, do you think it makes it more enticing to back the favorite now? I guess the game theory here would be, if you try to predict what everyone else will do, there's a theory too, since there's 3 spots, you just need to be one of the top 3. Maybe it's more wise to go long shot because there's more spots. You don't need to beat out Luka. You just need to finish 3rd. But if more people think that way, it might make the bonus bet bigger to just back Luka in the first place and now have a safety net behind it. I might be overthinking this, Dave, but what's your thought on the upgraded strategy here?
I don't think you're overthinking at all. I just think there is not a wrong answer with those 2. They both perfectly apply. The favorite is going to the 3 jackpots is naturally going to pull people in other directions. So your favorite is going to be less bet theoretically than he would be on any given night. Also, it opens the door for a long shot because they don't have to be number one. They can be number two, number three. And we've seen the king of the court be stolen away from a long shot who is returning hundreds and hundreds of dollars of bonus bets at the 11th hour with a late performance. So you cannot go wrong. It just opens up a different path for each strategy.
Pretty amazing promotion when you really think about it, but good segue to our long shots here.
Yeah, it is great. It's just a better version of it all around. So, yeah. All right. LeBron James, top long shots. Go back to that Pelicans matchup for a couple reasons. He is projected 7th overall on the night. He won King of the Court earlier this season with a $2,100 bonus return, highest of the year for anybody. Also made history this season, recording a triple-double as the oldest player ever to do it. So he's pulling off impressive feats, even in his 40s now. So I think it's notable that his King of the Court win came in a game where Luka was active, tallying 12 assists, and DeAndre Ayton recorded 18 rebounds. LeBron still coming up one board shy of a triple-double, so it wasn't like he was simply taking advantage of a void to fill. As mentioned, he gets the Pelicans tonight, and I broke down their defensive ranking earlier. However, it's worse versus forwards. They're 25th in points and 27th in rebounds over their last 15. LeBron projects as a top 3 in all PRA categories against players in this game, making him a strong value relative to his odds here, or not his odds, but his long shot chances. And if you want to buck the favorite, you can go in that same game with somebody who, has done this before and can again. So LeBron might be my pick of the long shots. Let me think about it, though. I may change my mind here as I talk over these other two. LaMelo Ball, we featured him last week, I believe, projected for 34.9 PRA versus the Mavs, 10th highest of the night, which, as we've said, almost everybody so far has landed within that range. Gets the Mavs, who have allowed the 3rd most assists in the NBA over the last 15 games, also ranked bottom 5 in scoring, bottom 8 versus point guards across all 3 PRA categories. Specifically allowing 10.4 assists per game to opposing point guards. So that's a good matchup for a guy like LaMelo Ball, who's projected for 8.0 assists tonight, a 2nd highest, I believe. Let me check that real quick. 1, 2, 3, tied for the 3rd highest with Josh Giddey. Last week's attempt, were we looking at him? He certainly had a shot, but his 3-point shooting was pretty poor in that game, and a 30-point blowout reduced any urgency to get things right. Biggest risk here, as I think it is anytime you're backing a Hornet in this promo, is that they have multiple guys who could probably take this any night between Con Knipple and Brandon Miller. That said, LaMelo Ball gets the highest projection of those 3 by our model, so he's clearly our model's preferred option as far as counting stats in this game. And finally, the last long shot, the longest of them all, Chet Holmgren in Thunder versus Bulls, projected for 33.5 PRA as our 11th highest total of the night. Playing without SGA tonight, so that's really what put him on this radar. I don't think I'd be looking at him otherwise. So he could see better scoring usage, though, he's not completely filling that void when he hasn't played. But he has 2 games since the All-Star break, 21 rebounds and 15 rebounds. Also had his best scoring performance since late January this past Sunday with 19 points against the Mavs. Gets a similar matchup tonight against Chicago, ranked 24th versus opponent points and assists, and boards, and 30th versus assists over their last 15 games. Chicago traded away Nikola Vucevic recently, their top rebounder on the season. And in that same 15-game span, Bulls have allowed an average of 25.9 points, 14.1 boards to opposing centers, mostly behind 2 very big games by Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Duren. Holmgren sort of fits the same mold here, projected as the top scorer and top rebounder in this game, getting a very good matchup that against a team that can't stop anybody, though we haven't managed to capitalize on the 3-point matchup in the last couple tries. He's got a path to a standout night here. Just needs to all come together for him.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of upside in the long shot plays. I think I'm with you. LeBron is probably my personal favorite from that group. You sticking with Bron?
I think I would go Chet because, like we were saying, now you get the door open for him to, he only needs to get top 3 here. 15 rebounds, 20 points, 5 assists. You got a 40 PRA. Probably not enough. He probably needs a little more than that. But yeah, certainly got an option.
Yeah, a whole new spice. King of the Court promotion now, thanks to DraftKings. All right, cool. Thank you for all of the insights there. Go Cade Cunningham is my official play. Before we move on from NBA, let's do something fun here. It is Threesday, March 3rd, 3-3. Let's come up with a little 3-point parlay to celebrate this festive occasion. How do you want to do this? Do we want to go after 3 legs? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should stick as themed to this as possible. 3 legs, so 3 guys to get. I mean, we can go more, but I think 3 guys to get 3 3-pointers each. And then,
3 guys make 3 threes, and I mean, God, how great would it be if it was plus 333?
I mean, if we take the right odds, you could probably get pretty close to that. But also, that works out well for this. Is FanDuel's running a promo tonight, so you get a 30% boost on any 3-point market, but it also enters you into a jackpot. Not quite like King of the Court. It's a sweepstakes one, so they're doing drawings, but 333 winners will get $3,333 in bonus bets. Then the reverse of that, 3,333 winners will receive $333, and 33,333 winners will receive $33 in bonus bets. So we're just going all in with the theme here. 3 guys, 3 threes. Let's see what we got.
Okay,
I have our NBA projections.
I have to interrupt because I was playing with this behind the scenes. One of the legs I'm going to unveil for my pick here is going to be part of this. But so I noticed some things. I'm a big numbers guy, and this is neurotic, Dave. I noticed in the Dimers player projections for tonight, there are only 3 players whose projected 3-point makes is exactly 3.3. They just so happen to all be teammates. It is Con Knipple, LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller, all with Charlotte. I plugged those 3 in DraftKings to see what odds would be if you just went those 3.3 guys to make 3 threes. Dave, I almost can't believe this. It's not plus 333. It's plus 222.
That's fine. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
It's like on the right track. It wanted to get it right, and it didn't. So I just had to verbalize that. Yeah.
Now I got to see what that is on FanDuel. Let me put this in real quick here.
God, I thought it was the universe trying to tell me something. I thought I really was following the formula.
Yeah, 202 on FanDuel, so not quite as juicy. That would be almost too good, I think.
That would have been something. But all right, I guess that's can I go first? Because I just spoiled. I'm going after Charlotte Hornet here. As a college basketball aficionado, what Con Knipple has done this year has been nothing short of brilliant. He is one of the best shooters in the league and will be for years to come. He also is coming off a rather quiet night where he was only 2 for 7 against Portland. All month, he has been on fire. He had hit 3 or more threes in 8 consecutive games prior to that quiet night against Portland. If you go through his game logs all year, whenever he does have a quiet shooting night, he really bounces back in a positive way the next night. So give me Con Knipple to make 3 threes. It's minus 229 on DraftKings, but that can be our anchor leg.
Cool. Yep, got him right here. Minus 235 on FanDuel. Basically the same thing. I am now going to go after a matchup that we just talked about, and our guy is projected right there. I have no idea if he's been hitting these numbers lately. I'm going to check that at the same time as we talk through this here. Yeah, a little bit. The volume is there for the most part, and that's what I like. And we're going to go after this matchup anyway. And plus, with no SGA tonight, this may impact him a little bit more as well. Give me Jared McCain here. Oh wait, we got Isaiah Joe for 3.2 as well. Let me just check a quick little game log here so I can get an idea on the volume. But I was thinking Jared McCain, we got him at 2.9. Isaiah Joe. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Isaiah Joe. Actually, he's hit it in back-to-back, couple 6 for 11 games, averaged 3.6 for 7.2 on 7.2 attempts in February. So yeah, we'll go with Isaiah Joe down here in Bulls versus Thunder. That gets us to plus money there, right there. All right, third leg. Let's pick this one together, Greg. How about that?
I like it.
Who are you looking at?
I was kind of trying to dig back into my Pistons for a moment because if we're projecting a huge Cade night, he's got to pick up some assists. And the top 3-point projected Piston tonight is Duncan Robinson. But I don't know. Any thoughts?
2.7. I mean, that's close enough for me. I think anybody within 0.5, I'd be happy to take. They are playing. What do we say? Why am I blanking on it?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Right. Too much data overload for me right now.
He took 8 threes their last game against Cleveland. He's actually coming off a 2 for 12 stretch in his last 2 games. So positive shooting regression a little bit here. Kind of the same pitch I had with Khan.
Very much could be. What do you think about Dante DiVincenzo against the Grizzlies here? 37.6 opponent 3-point percentage over their last 15. Projected 3.1. Let's see if we're getting jobbed on any of these odds at all here.
Yeah, good check. I'm always game for White
Dante,
Mamba, as I call him, Dante.
Dante 186. Cade is plus 176. So we're going to hang on. Let me see real quick with Dante. Who gets us to 333? Cade might get us really close. Oh, way over 496. That's too bad. What do you think? You want to go a little deeper? You want to?
I like
a
Dante.
little lighter. All right, let's go with Dante. Let's stick with what the projections are lining up with. So that'll be plus 232. We'll get a 33% boost. That's practically going to be 333 right there.
Please.
It's going to be real close. Probably about 303, 313, I think.
Amazing.
So, there you go. You got Khan, Isaiah Joe. Oh, we got a little. Oh, not really anything. And Dante DiVincenzo. 3 plus 3s each, all projected right there or above it by the Dimers model. We got 3.2, 3.1, and 3.3. That's looking pretty good. Should be a little fun one to line up with the theme for the day.
Amazing. Love it. All right. Happy Threesday to you and all who celebrate, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, it's time for another rendition of My College Corner.
College Corner.
We are down to the wire in the college basketball world. It's a big month for all fans like me. And this is the final week of the regular season for power conferences. A few conference tournaments are underway. I do want to remind everybody, make sure you tap in with Dimers on the best bets and predictions hub every single day, because as these conference tournament games begin to populate, you never know what matchups will be. There's a lot of movement. Dimers will give you the updates in real time and give you projected scores for every single game. It's a huge resource if you're looking to bet all of these postseason tournaments. We've got 3 picks as always. All 3 of these are sourced from the Dimers best bets tonight. For Tuesday, we start in the ACC, where Clemson is 3.5-point underdogs on the road at North Carolina. This one stood out to me at first glance as a mispriced number, potentially in favor of North Carolina. It caught my attention that Dimers is going the other way. And the more I dug into this, I kind of think I'm on the same track here on why. For starters, North Carolina is still missing their superstar best player, Caleb Wilson. When you look at analytics services that project the scores of games, oftentimes, like a Ken Palm doesn't factor in injury concerns. The Dimers model showing value in Clemson, I think, is a more accurate representation of what the personnel is going to be on the court tonight. And Clemson's biggest problem in their quiet stretch lately, they've lost 4 of 5 games until they got their win over Louisville over the weekend, has been 3-point shooting regression. This is a good 3-point shooting team that hasn't been able to make anything for 2 weeks. And on the flip side, they're a great 3-point defense that really holds teams to only making 31% of their threes, but teams have been shooting over 40% against Clemson in this 4-game losing stretch. That came to a screeching halt against Louisville. Averages kind of hit back to what we'd seen all season. Clemson made their threes. Louisville did not, and Clemson escaped with a victory for the first time in 5 games. I think you're going to see more of that against a North Carolina team that is missing their best player. And Clemson, quite frankly, due for these laws of averages to continue back in their direction from a 3-point variance standpoint. For our final 2 picks, we're going to move to the Big Ten Conference, and we're going out west first. It's UCLA against Nebraska. Now, the dreaded West Coast trip has been a spot to circle on the schedule for all of your traditional Big Ten teams. And Nebraska is making theirs very late in the season. They had to go at USC over the weekend on Saturday, stay in Los Angeles. Now they've got at UCLA, which is the hardest game on the West Coast trip for any of these teams this year. UCLA is the best team out there, and they are damn good at home. They've only lost one game at home all season long. It was a double overtime loss to Indiana that took plenty of heroics from the Hoosiers just to put it into overtime. This team really doesn't lose at home. And they've got wins over top 10 caliber opponents, Purdue and Illinois at home already this season. I think this is a death trap for a Nebraska team. If you think about the way they play defense schematically, they swarm post touches. They don't let dribble penetration occur. They overhelp and they sag, and they dare you to beat them from three. They have one of the highest three-point volume allowing defenses you'll find in college basketball. UCLA is a great shooting team from three. They just don't shoot enough of them. Nebraska's team is going to force them to do that, but it plays right into what UCLA does best with Sky Clark, with Tyler Bilodeau, with Trent Perry all making shots from outside. I think at Pick'em, UCLA at home, where they've been amazing all year, with a matchup that schematically favors them, is one of the best bets you can make. We'll pull the screenshot up later and you'll see, but I think this was a 56% probability outcome from the Dimers model. And then one more game in traditional Big Ten country. It's Illinois minus 18.5 against Oregon. Last week, I was in Champaign for Illinois' game against Michigan. Michigan did what they do to most good teams. They kind of ran through them and wore them down as the game went on. But this is senior night for Illinois. This is a final opportunity to honor Kylan Boswell, who's a Champaign kid, born and raised. And I think they're going to want to go out on a good note here against an Oregon team that is really just overmatched across the board anywhere you can find in the matchup. I will point out one spot particularly strong that I think Illinois will dominate here. Oregon is a terrible rebounding team. They're 256th in the country on defensive boards. Illinois is elite there, third in the country in offensive rebounding. They've got size everywhere. I think this is a big motivational bounce back spot coming off of the Michigan loss, with high emotions, trying to send your seniors out right against an overmatched Ducks team that just won't be able to hang, that is playing the opposite of the West Coast trip we just talked about, right? Oregon had to go to Northwestern over the weekend, hang around in the state of Illinois. They just want to get on a flight and go home and get to the postseason, and I think Illinois will take full advantage. Add those three to the card. It is Clemson plus 3.5, UCLA money line, and Illinois minus 18.5 tonight. And all three of these over a 55% probability of 4% plus edge for both Clemson and Illinois.
Very nice. Maybe it's just because I got threes on the mind, but I heard 2 3-point stat references in there. Third in rebounding. I can't get away from it. We got 3 picks here. One of them's a plus 3.5. I don't know. It's the day. It's permeating every facet of this show.
Dave, right as you just concluded that sentence, the minute mark of this recording was 33 minutes flat.
Let's go, baby. Something's lining up tonight. And hopefully it's one of the many things we are shouting out here on this pod.
I love it. All right. Throw us a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast so that you can get College Corner down the stretch run of this college hoop season. We got a bunch in store for you. I'll have some NCAA tournament coverage for you throughout this show, and a bunch of travel trips upcoming for me as I run around the country trying to follow all of my favorite games. Let's turn next to the PGA Tour, where it is the Arnold Palmer Invitational next up on the schedule. You did recap the Cognizant Classic a little bit. Shane Lowry let us down. It was Nico Echevarria who came away with the victory, but did you have any other takeaways from the week that was at the Cognizant Classic?
Yeah, I mean, good win for Nico. He's been a fun golfer to watch. Been really close a bunch of times. I wish I was on him this week, obviously. He didn't really ping on my radar, but he's a really talented guy who's had some pretty close calls lately, and it was nice to see him break through, even though it came at the expense of our guy. One of our golfers to watch, I believe Jace may have shouted him out on the Thursday show as well as the top golfer to watch. But I know I mentioned him on Tuesday, but Nikolai Højgaard also finished T6, top 10 and top 20 cash is there, both plus money. And we're back in the signature events with a $20 million purse on the line here. First of 2 back-to-back signature events. Next week is the Players at $25 million for a full purse. So these fields are going to be absolutely loaded. We're going to Bay Hill in Orlando for this one with a field of 72. Cut of the top 50 ties and all golfers within 10 strokes of the lead, same as the last signature event. Bay Hill is a really tough course, kind of plays major-esque, averages over par, which is not something we've seen on any of the courses so far this year. And as a par 72 with elite talent in those fields, that's saying something about how it gets after guys and really tests everybody's, best limits of their game. So not surprising then that course history helps a lot here. 17 of the past 20 winners have at least 3 starts at this event. But the course is always lurking in wait to antagonize everybody from the best to the worst in the field. Long rough penalizes those who miss the fairways. 4 long par 3s and a bunch of dog legs are going to force golfers to play this course a little bit longer than it's already lengthy, nearly 7,500 yards. Some of that may be offset by the par 5s, which I'll play at plus 570 yards or shorter. But all that said, accurate drivers, good scramblers, and those who can really birdie or better those par 5s will find themselves with an advantage here. A couple notable storylines: Justin Thomas and Sung Jae Im both making their season debuts, their first start in 5 months. Not going to really touch on them very much here as they don't have any value or land high up in our projections. But, if you are a fan of playing the narratives, they are certainly big narratives this week, both returning from extended absences. I'll pull up our predictions here and we'll simply go through our best winners, couple long shots, and golfers to watch. Starting with our value on the 2 winners, or top 2 contenders rather, Scotty Scheffler and Tommy Fleetwood. Now, I was doing just a little line shopping before this show, so I've got slightly different odds listed here because I looked around on all the books. They are not very far off from what we have here, but just a friendly reminder to double check because you could see some pretty big variance on golf outrights, particularly when you get into the long shots. But Scotty Scheffler, once again, the favorite, 25% to win. That'd make him fair at plus 300, so getting a little bit of an edge here at plus 350. Uncharacteristically rough first rounds in his last 3 starts, costing him a win pretty much every time, but he's bounced back impressively, finished T3, T4, T12 in those events. 2-time champion here, 5-shot win 2 years ago. He's comfortable here, plenty of command, well rested after a little bit of a break. Not sure someone like Scotty Scheffler needs a break, but hitting a little reset button after some of his first round struggles might make him the most dangerous guy in this field, even more so than he already is. I will say you're getting probably the best price on him we've seen all year, but it's also our shortest win probability, still 25%, which is very significant in a golf tournament. If you can avoid the slow start, he's obviously the clear favorite and the standard everyone is chasing this week. No red flags to point out for him. So, it's just a matter of if he finds his form from Thursday through Sunday instead of just figuring it out on Friday. Tommy Fleetwood, guy our model is loving this year, and for good reason. Getting a 9.6% probability to win with Scheffler in the field is substantial, and that would make his fair odds at just plus 940. You can get him plus 1,800, plus 1,900, 20 to 1, pretty much in that range everywhere you look. Got to be the most underpriced player based on that alone. Getting the flame from the Dimers model here. Strong history at Bay Hill, back to even before he was on the tour. He's got 5 total top 20 finishes here, T3 and 2 T10s as his best performances. Excellent form. He's got a top 10 in his last 2 starts this season. Above field average in basically every single statistical category that correlates with success here. Does rank 127th in driving distance. I'll say if you're looking for a red flag or a reason not to bet on him, but he compensates that with elite accuracy. He's second in scrambling, second in birdie or better on par 5s. A really well-rounded game, well suited for this course. Looking at a couple more long shot guys. Ben Griffin, familiar names as well. You can get him up to plus, I think, 6,000 on Bet365 I saw, but he seems to be hovering in the 4,500 to 5,500 range. 2.4% or 2.3% probability rather, which would be fair at right around plus 4,200. But yeah, based on him being as low as plus 45, you're getting a really solid edge here. Small win probability. His 2 appearances in the past at Bay Hill have been a T45 last year and a T14 in 2023. Overall form has been trending downward this year, though, which is probably why we're not seeing the big flames on him. But it's just still an edge, though it just falls under our percentage cutoff. But he opened the season with a T19 and has gotten worse each time, actually, down to T40 something this past in his past event. Not the most impressive tee to green, which is important here, but he's got strong accuracy, excellent scoring numbers. He's 20th in the field on par 5s with birdie or better. So real good chance there to shorten up his score. Glaring weakness is his closing ability. He ranks between 25th and 41st in scoring in rounds 1 through 3. Plummets to 96th in round 4. He just has not been able to close these days out, which is keeping him from solid top 20 finishes, if not, getting up there with the contenders. So solid value as a long shot if you can solve his struggles. But that is the key question mark, those 4th round issues holding him back from being probably a much shorter play here after all the success he had last year. And then one more long shot as a value, Harry Hall, way down here. There he is, 120 to 1 plus 120,000. Fair odds here at 1.3% would be just around plus 7,600. And he's as low as 8,800 on DraftKings. So a really big value on that alone. And also a reminder that shopping for the best number really matters. Mixed 2026 so far, 2 missed cuts, 2 T24s, and 1 T6. So that pattern suggests he's got a T6 coming up, or at least a top 10 contender here. Basically the complete reverse golfer as far as over the course of the weekend compared to Ben Griffin, who is a long shot, but not quite this long. Ranked 72nd and 123rd in rounds 1 and 2 for scoring. On the weekend, 7th and 17th in rounds 3 and 4. So if Hall can make the cut, he's a very dangerous guy to close out in contention. His approach play is not great. Bay Hill's not a perfect fit for him, but he's pretty accurate. He scrambles well. Putting is good. Overall scoring, all above field average in those categories. Most compelling angle here might be a top 20. If you come up here, look at our top 20 predictions, you'll see he gets a flame outright at plus 270, over a 35% probability. Real solid standalone value if you don't want to roll the dice on an outright at 120 to 1. He is making his debut here, goes against that historical trend, so I might have some caution thinking he's going to get a top 5 or a win, but top 20, top 10 looks pretty good for Hall if he can, kind of get over his early round issues and go into the weekend strong. Just a couple of golfers to watch real quick. Again, as usual, no value on these guys particularly, but just worth watching for one reason or another. Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, and Alex Noren. Henley is the reigning champ here. He's right at fair odds at plus 3,300 and 3%. So no value, but no reason to fade him based on the price either. He did miss the cut in his last event, but he's in top 20s in his first 3. It was a bit uncharacteristic for him. Not something that I would be overly concerned about. And dating back to 2023, in his last 4 missed cuts, he followed with a top 10 finish. 3 top 15s here since 2022. Loves this course. Feel like he's a classic buy low guy in this spot, coming off of a cut with great course history and shown how to rebound. Probably going to contend even harder with the talent in this field. So Henley is definitely on my radar this week. Sepp Straka, real low win probability, just 0.6 at plus 7,000. Not even close to fair odds even. But he opened with a 5 over in his Bay Hill performance in 2024. Still rallied to finish T5. So he's shown that he can break through here. Recently had a pretty good round or a good tournament at Pebble Beach. Turned in a T2. Not the best putter, as probably his notable weakness, but his tee to green game and approach play are really strong. When he's firing in all cylinders, he has a really well-rounded game. The odds just don't really recommend it here, but I would not be surprised if we see him at least in the top 20 come Sunday. And finally, Alex Noren, just a little bit further up here at 1% to win, but plus 9,000. So straight up fair odds. Quietly steady season, 2 missed cuts to open the year, has rebounded with a T29 and a T12. yet to finish a completed round over par, I believe. Driving distance is his primary weakness. Bit of a concern here where length matters, but accuracy is a bit more important. Is mid-game, short game, and putting are much better. Despite those off the tee limitations, he should be in contention here. At 90 to 1, he's a bit volatile with his scoring, and as we saw those results, but it's a serious long shot here, and at fair odds, you could do much, much worse. I would just close out with saying there's so much to dig through in the golf predictions on site. You can get creative. Top 40 parlays, make the cut, miss the cut parlays based on finishing projections. Maybe find a straight bet, plus money, make the cut with a guy who stands out amongst those who are around him. Really, what you get out of these golf tools is what you put in. If you use the time and compare with guys and their course fits and their history, you will find some gems hidden in here, kind of how we found Nikolai Højgaard last week, even though he didn't show any outright value. And the head-to-head tool is great. We came up one stroke shy the previous week, cashed this past week with one leg voiding. Model is pretty good at those head-to-head matchups. The tool is really useful. You can use it for 3-ball insights, bigger groups, regional markets, and more. It's really versatile. I cannot recommend using it enough. Getting in there and getting creative, you'll find some, like I said, you'll find some gems for sure.
Absolutely. I hit a head-to-head matchups parlay round 1 last week. It's my favorite way to bet these golf tournaments. And my takeaway from all of the great info you just brought to us, our model loves Harry Hall. One of these weeks, Harry Hall is going to break through and we're going to be like, we told you so. And with how streaky he's been, it might be this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be kind of funny if he comes evenly into or out of this weekend with 2 missed cuts, 2 top 25s, and 2 top 10s. It would just be very fitting. So yeah, I'll be playing in top 20, top 10, definitely.
Yeah, love it. All right, thank you, Dave. Let's close the show as we always do with what else is on Dimers this week.
What's on Dimers this week?
Daily full slates of sports through the weekend. NBA, NHL, college hoops, soccer, tennis, and more. Anything you want is on dimers.com. What else, Dave?
Yeah, you said it, Greg. There's midweek Premier League today, tomorrow, I believe. So, even if you're not a main sports guy, there's plenty of soccer, even in the middle of the week for you. PGA predictions update after every round, as you well know by now, barring any rain delays. But a small field should help with that, even though, we're in Florida with the East Coast tee times and the rain, sometimes a bad mix, but small field should avoid any issues with that this week. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. Looking forward to Thursday's show, and we'll dive into some Thursday slates. First time I've had a chance to look at NHL since the league returned on this show, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
You heard the man. We'll be back on Thursday for episode 2 this week, and we'll responsibly in the meantime, everybody. Cheers.